Hello, 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 citizens of the Writers Corner podcast. Welcome to episode 59 of the Writers Corner podcast. We are nearly at 60 episodes, guys. That's insane to think about. But yeah, this week's episode, or not this week's, but today, because this is the third podcast of the week. It's Halloween week, and I had missed a couple weeks of podcasts, so I thought I'd publish 3 podcasts this week. And I hope you guys enjoy it. This week, or this episode of the Writers Corner podcast is going to be another 2 Cents horror story video, or audio if you're listening to this on iTunes or SoundCloud, which I hope you are. This is 2 Cents Horror Stories Volume 6, and I hope you guys are ready. I have 6 brand new 2 Cents horror stories, and then I'm also going to give you my update on Nightmare Academy. I briefly touched on this on Monday's episode of the Writers Corner podcast, which was episode 57. But yeah, here we go. The sentences, the 2 Cents horror stories, and then a quick update. Number 1. A woman screamed inside of the hotel the man was staying at. The scary part was the world had ended 2 months earlier, and he was the last man on Earth. Number 2. The woman woke to the sound of tiny feet running along the concrete floor. She opened her eyes and saw she had been taken to a doll factory. Number 3. Pain erupted throughout the man's body. The transformation has begun, the man's father replied, his mouth splitting into a bloody grin. Number 4. The alien from another world walked across the desert. The man followed, the hunter going after his prey. Number 5. The man spit blood onto the floor. This meat soured, he replied, throwing the half-rotted arm to the ground. And finally, number 6. The sun rose over the city. As the people walked out of their homes, they found their bodies littered the streets and faded away. Well, there you guys go. That was my 2 Cents horror stories. Now I am going to tell you a little bit about my book update. My book is the first young adult novella I've ever written. It's the first story I've ever written in the young adult genre. It's a genre I've really become fascinated by in recent years. This is a prequel to my Nightmare Wars series, which is an ongoing series that currently has 3 books in it. Nightmare Wars is the story of a young man who becomes the leader of the Resistance, which is a group of individuals who are trying to stop an evil creature known as King Dalka, who has led the supernatural realm to overtake humanity and take the world for themselves. Now, with humanity pretty much near extinction, this young man has to lead both humans and good supernatural creatures in the fight against this evil, monstrous leader known as King Dalka. And this is 3 books into that series already. This novella is called Welcome to Nightmare Academy, which is a prequel to the Nightmare Wars series. It takes place, I believe, I said it 5 years before the events of the first Nightmare Wars book. And it tells the story of a young girl named Francesca, who's not quite so young. She's actually over 100 years old, and she's a vampire. She was turned at the turn of the 20th century, and she was saved, in a way, by a young, or not young, but an old vampire and monster hunter named Brad Davies, who is one of the main characters of the Nightmare Wars series. He is King Dalka's sworn enemy. King Dalka killed his family, and he has spent his immortal life searching for a way to stop King Dalka, and he decided to save Francesca, who is the main character of this new young adult series, and train her. and he recognizes that not all supernatural creatures are evil, just as all humans aren't good. And he tries to protect the good while stopping the evil in the world. And he has trained Francesca to do the same. Now, in the year, I believe it was 2008, I believe that's what I set it at. It's the rough draft, guys, so I still got some editing to do. Francesca goes to Nightmare Academy, a brand new school created by King Delca to recruit and train supernatural creatures to serve as his army that he is going to use in the upcoming invasion of the world. It's a ruthless academy that King Delca has built. King Delca is known as the first supernatural creature to ever walk the earth. But now Francesca is working as an undercover operative for the Resistance at the behest of her mentor, Brad Davies. She goes into the school looking for information and providing intel for the Resistance. But as with a lot of things, her life becomes very complicated as she struggles to come to terms with her own sexuality, especially after meeting the mystical warlock Jasper Sawyer and the beautiful yet deadly vampire Ivy Owens, both of whom capture her attention. Although she's over 100 years old, Francesca is finding herself living the life of a teenage girl caught up in school politics and love lives, all the while straddling the line between life and death as she remains undercover and faces an old foe whom she holds a deep-seated hatred for. So if that sounds interesting, prepare to learn about the complicated world of the Nightmare Academy, as the line between good and evil is explored, and one young woman must face the relentless evil that threatens to consume humanity and the world entirely. I'm very, very excited about this book. Honestly, this Nightmare War and Nightmare Academy now, everything I've ever written in that series is probably my favorite and best work I've ever had. I have so many different stories that I can tell in this world that I've created, and I think this foray into the young adult genre is the perfect way to extend the Nightmare Wars saga even more. I'm really excited for you guys to meet these characters, Francesca, Jasper Sawyer, and Ivy Owens, and so many others. This is going to be fun. My plan is to write at least 2, maybe 3 novellas and combine them into one full novel once those have been published. And I'll do that a few times. I want to have a few novellas that I can release kind of like they're issues of a comic almost. But they're not a comic, there's no pictures. But anyways, that's my plan. The rough draft is completed. It's currently over 20,000 words. But I gotta go into the editing room now and take out what doesn't work, add some details and some awesome storylines that maybe I didn't fully explore in the first time around. And and then I'll be looking for beta readers. So if any of you are interested in reading an advanced copy of Welcome to Nightmare Academy and want to, give your thoughts on it, tell me what does and doesn't work, if there are any, editing errors you see, I'd love to get some beta readers. So just let me know. You can email me at all lowercase. You can email me at authoranthonyavina@gmail.com. Leave a comment if you want me to just respond to you through YouTube, or you can contact me using any of the social media links down below in the description box. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. So that's it. Thank you for listening to this week's podcast, guys. Those were 2-sentence horror stories and a quick update on Welcome to Nightmare Academy. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Next week we are going to be discussing a more technical subject. We're going to be discussing, social media for writers. I'm going to talk to you about my two favorite social media networks that I use as a writer. That's going to be episode 60, so look for that, and I'll give you my reasons why. Thanks for listening, guys. Please leave your comments down below. Tell me what you thought of the 2 sentence horror stories and what you thought of the description for Welcome to Nightmare Academy. If you guys have your own 2 sentence horror stories, or if you're interested in being a beta reader, please include them in your comments. I love to read your comments and interact with you guys, and some of my favorite comments are going to be used in upcoming Q&A videos. So any questions or comments, leave them down below. If you're listening to this on iTunes or SoundCloud, thank you for listening. Please subscribe to the podcast if you haven't done so already, and leave us a review letting us know what you liked, didn't like, what does and does not work, and what you'd like to see in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Please give this video a big thumbs up on YouTube, like this video, comment on it, favorite, and share it. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to this channel. It would mean the world to me if you did. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and it's because of your awesome support, so thank you so much. And I'm going to get going. Hope you guys are enjoying Halloween week so far. We have some great videos coming up for you, so stay tuned, and we will talk to you pretty soon for the next episode of the Writer's Corner podcast. This is your host, author Anthony Avina, signing out. Long days and pleasant nights, my friends.